The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, an iNetworks communication station.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Christians and friends. We thank and praise God for this, another glorious privilege to come into your homes while you're riding along in your automobiles, your various places of business, every hospital ward, every institution, the boys and girls behind prison walls, to bring you Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith, the gospel show, the Stellar Award-winning gospel show, emanating live and direct from the studios of WVTC, where we're winning victory through Christ, through StreamYard. And we trust and pray that this time with Jesus would give you strength to go forward in faith. Listen, beloved, I am so glad to have you back with me today. The Lord has been good and the Lord has been kind. The Lord blessed us on last week in a magnanimous way. That's all I'm going to say. And he's doing it again right now. He's blessing right now. He is in the blessing business right now. And that's why we came on with Lift Those Hands and Bless Him. Listen, I want to see you guys out there. I want to see my numbers go up. You all were so kind to me on last week. And I want you all to do a thing for me today. I want you to like and share this musical, spiritual experience. Listen, I've got a panel of guests that are coming today, some that I just met for the first time, and we got some Chicago folk, and it's just going to be absolutely wonderful. And I'm just trusting God that He's just going to show up in a big way. I want to thank all of our supporters. I was going back through my phone and looked at all the text messages that I sent for people to support us with our Stellar campaign, and it's some people I didn't even get to thank. That it was just so many text messages. I said, vote for me, vote for it. I'm gonna have to go back and just get everybody, because you guys were so kind. I'll just never ever forget it. But listen, in the meantime, we're getting ready to go. We're gonna stop in Canton, Mississippi, and we're going to go on to Georgia. I have a young man that is coming that is a Sunday Best finalist. And when I tell you, when I first heard him sing, I was so blessed. I see Ron out there. I want to know who's out there. I want y'all to make some comments. I want to see where my people are at today. Where are my people at? But anyway, I want to go to Atlanta, Georgia. There is a gentleman by the name of Ashford Sanders. Can we get him up here, Reverend Morris? Ashford Sanders, when I tell you, he is somebody. He has a smooth, rich voice, and he is doing his thing. Ashford Sanders, first time with me on WVTC. God bless you, Dennis. I want you to say hello to our listener audience.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me tonight, man. I'm so excited to be on. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. Listen, I'm just a po' boy from Canton, Mississippi that God has trusted with some opportunity. So I'm so grateful to be on tonight. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, and I'm just glad about what God is doing, man. And I don't know if this means anything to you, but millions didn't make it.
Oh,
But I
want to be loved.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Ashford, I mean, I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, your home church, and how you got involved in music ministry. You're your first time on here. I want you to just let us have it. Tell us about you.
Well, again, I'm from Canton, Mississippi. I grew up a po' boy from Mississippi. We lived in the hood, in the ghetto. We didn't have much. It was like 3 families living in a 2-bedroom house. But God blessed us still. I came up listening to the Canton Spirituals. That's who I was attracted to. That's who I love. That's the group that mentored me, trained me. I watched the Canton Spirituals, Michael Jackson. Those were the 2 groups that I paid attention to. And while a lot of people were listening to them vocally, I was paying attention to hand signals or, I just seen Harvey do this. I wonder what was he telling them. So I keep rewinding, trying to figure out what changed when he did that. And so that taught me that it was more to singing than just being able to sing. That was a method to being a lead singer and understanding what's going on the stage, the atmosphere, how to create whatever energies need to be created. But nevertheless, that began my love for gospel music. I was 6 years old when I was introduced to them, and I've been loving gospel music ever since.
Wow. So you went to the concerts, and see, I know quartet is heavy in the South. It actually is really taking a big foothold up in the Midwest too, but I know it's heavy in the South. So you went, those were the icons down there, right?
Yes, sir. Definitely. The Canton Spirituals from my era, was the group that had the Fix It Jesus. And I come from an old family. We didn't have much, but the Lord been good to me. Those songs, they were, and years later you realize a lot of times the songs didn't even talk about Jesus. They were just talking about life situations. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff that you were going through in your life. Nevertheless, that was the group that mentored me. Just watch me, and over the years I've had a chance to sing with Harvey and them several times now on stage.
You did?
Yeah, I actually just released a tribute to the Canton Spirituals that's going viral on YouTube right now, called Ashford Sanders Tribute to the Canton Spirituals. It's really nice.
That is amazing.
Yes, sir.
That is amazing. So what was that like? I mean, you got to tell us, what was that? I mean, you sang with the group that mentored you. Well, tell us about that.
Let me tell you what was really crazy. The night I released the tribute on YouTube, Harvey called me. He called me and he said, "Man, you got me sitting here in tears." And as a part of the song, he sings, "I'm in your care." And there's a part when he said, "Don't leave me, Jane." And he said, "That's my prayer." He said, "That's been my prayer all my life." And he said, when you said that, water just came to my eyes. But that was absolutely phenomenal. But to have the opportunity to sing with the Canton Spirituals all the time, I mean, it's been more than 8, 9 times up to now. But I still get nervous. I still get overwhelmed when I'm in their presence. So,
Really?
I'm a fan for real.
Wow. So when did you realize that you had a vocal musical gift? What happened?
I was in kindergarten, and I had a teacher by the name of Miss Hinkles, white lady, nicest white lady you ever want to meet. And Miss Hinkles, she had one of the, I don't know what you call them, but the disc, you got the big black disc, and you set it on there, and you take the thing and put the needle on it, and it spins.
I know what you're talking.
Yeah, I was in kindergarten, and she had one of those in the room. And she said, "Which one of y'all think y'all can sing this song?" And so I put the headphones on, and I heard, "There's a place in my heart, and I know that it is love." And I raised my hand. And I sung it at my kindergarten graduation. That was my introduction to singing, period. And then after that, my family would always come up from New Orleans, and they would want me to sing like "I miss you, I'm talking to you, baby." The Aaron Hall, the joint. So I would always
Right.
times. But one day at my auntie house, Nene, I saw that VHS, Canton Spirituals, and that's when I was locked. I was just locked there, and I knew gospel is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the choir. Matter of fact, I'm the one that caused my mama to go to church, because before that, she wasn't going to church. But because I wanted to be in the choir, that's what made her get up and take us to church every week.
The Bible says, and a little child shall lead them.
I wasn't that little. I was still fat.
Well, you was a little child in the Lord. You know what I'm talking about. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Listen, so you started singing then, and so you got in the choir. And when did you realize it was more than just I can sing, and there may be something more than just singing that the Lord has for me?
I've always felt I was capable of doing many things. So singing was just one avenue that could open up some doors, but I felt I could act, I felt I could cook, I could dance, I could do a whole lot of other things. I could create. I love doing things like hanging sheetrock and building stuff. I love doing those types of things. But singing is my first love. That's my passion. I feel like that's my purpose.
Uh-huh.
It's like God gave one man 5 gifts, the other one 2, the other one 1. I feel like he gave me many, and I dare not use all of them. I mean, why not? Go out there, everything. So, I got a restaurant currently in Georgia, and we just pushing through, making things happen.
So you own a restaurant?
Yes, sir. Called That's Good. We got beans, green tomatoes, ham, yam.
I can't with you.
It ain't healthy, but it's good.
If we do it in moderation and take some home and eat portions like the next day, not all at once. Listen, my engineer just hit me and said he had a piece. He had the tribute that you did. So I'm going to see if he can get that up. So we'll talk if he'll just go ahead and do it.
Okay.
And there we go.
If you need the Savior's power in your life, any hour, He'll send a blessing. Singing, you pray. He will give you strength and power. Call on Him any hour, He'll send a blessing. Singing, you pray. Ain't no secret what God can do, what He done for.
Now y'all already heard that little bit right there, so he's not playing with this, right? Okay, you already know that, right?
On down in clean up what I messed up, to rise above it all, to hallelujah, square, fix it, Jesus. It goes all down in there, man.
So again, here we go. God bless you, Sylvia Coleman. I love you. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Debbie Orange, you're in my heart. Listen. My last question was, when did you realize it was more, and what was your next step to move your singing into the next phase beyond just singing at church?
For me, I felt my vocal ability and passion was bigger than just singing in the church.
Mm-hmm.
To be shared with the world. The down. I mean, there's pros and cons to it, because when you don't have the know-how, you don't know what to do. You just know how what you want to do. So it took me falling, getting back up, getting back up, pressing through, being ripped off, being too anxious. And being too anxious made me sign contracts that I shouldn't have signed. trust people that I shouldn't have trusted, and nevertheless, ultimately got me nowhere. Just a lot of wasted time. Even after Sunday Best, my manager, who actually was employed with BET at the time, was just a waste of time. And I learned that everybody don't have your best interest at heart. Everybody is not really ride or die for you. Some people are there just to see, just in case you jump off, just in case something happens.
Mhm.
Then they hop on your coattail. Nobody
Jump
wants
off.
dry season with you.
But you know what? I would beg to say that it's good to have that happen early in your career,
Mhm.
and then you learn what not to do as you go along. God bless you, Pastor Marcus Treadwell, for sharing with us today. I appreciate you. God bless you, and I got you, Pastor. I would say that is probably something that you needed early, so you'll learn what to do as you go along, and you'll be able to manage the gift and harness and make sure the right people around you. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, that's let's go with that one, because sometimes those things have to happen.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to have a Judas experience.
Yeah, and that's the horrible part, because the other part is, if you're not as wise as I was, or knowledgeable as I was, or in God as I am, then something like for me, even being in God and trusting God and understand, I was still at a point where I was ready to throw in the towel, especially
Mhm.
after Sunday Best. Being locked into a 5-year contract and being told what I could and couldn't do. I was over gospel music. I was done. I had lost the will to even want to do it. Because I felt gospel was different. But then
Mhm.
better you learn. You know. You know.
Yeah, I can understand that, because it could be discouraging in the beginning. But look what happened. It was God. It was a setup, right?
It was a setup. That's why I said God already got it worked out, because he sent Apostle Vera Howard in my restaurant. I didn't know her. She didn't know me. But it was somebody that was with her that just happened to recognize me. And from there, boom, I'm here talking to you.
So tell us, what was the vehicle to get you to Sunday Best?
Sunday Best kind of came. Okay, so I actually auditioned for Sunday Best twice before making it on the show.
Oh, really?
I did season 2 and season 3, and I was done with Sunday Best. I wasn't even gonna go back and audition. Season 3, I actually got 2 yeses, but what ended up happening was this: I'm in the room and I'm singing, "Oh how I love Jesus, oh how I love Jesus, oh how I love Jesus," and so Tina Campbell says, "Stop." So I stopped. And she said, I think you're good, but I don't think you can compete with the other guys in the competition. So Erica looked at her. Erica was like, I totally disagree. So Erica said, I'm going to say yes. So then Donnie McClurkin looks at me and says, I'm going to say yes. But when they aired it on TV, they had Donnie saying something totally different. And so I was mad with them because they made me look bad on. So season 5, I didn't go back season 4. Season 5 comes around. I didn't go to Texas to audition for Sunday Best. I went to audition for the X Factor. I went to Austin, Texas to audition for the X Factor. True story. I made it through all 3 rounds on the X Factor. When I was leaving out the door, this random guy, I don't know who he is to this day, he said, "Hey, sir, I heard you singing in the auditioning line." He said, "You should, Sunday Best is in Dallas tomorrow." So I had $60, just enough money to make it back to Mississippi. And I looked at my drummer at the time. I said, "Bro, you want to go to Dallas?" And he was country. He said, "Whatever you want to do, Juice." I was like, so we get in the car, we go to Dallas. We ain't have no money for no hotel. So we're just sitting in the car for like 3 hours. I'm scared to call my mom because she gonna go off. Anyway, long story short, call my mama. She wires some money. We get a hotel room. That Saturday morning, we get up to go to the Potter's house. That's what the auditions was.
Uh-huh.
In the
Wow.
car, I tell my drummer, I said, "Bro, let's just go back to Mississippi." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because I know how this works. If we make it today, I got to come back tomorrow." I said, "We got to play at church tomorrow, so we can't even come back." And he said, "Well, let's at least just go over to the church." So we get there. I get a number. And I'm sitting there for like 2 hours. It's like 2,000 people in this room.
Jeez.
My mind said, or it could have been the devil, Said, you sitting here wasting all this time. You can be halfway home by now. You know you can't come back tomorrow. So I get up to leave out the door. One of the producers stopped me and said, sir, where you going? I said, well, ma'am, if I make it today, I got to come back tomorrow. I can't come back tomorrow because I got to go to church. She said, this is a one-day audition. She said, Bishop Jason have church here tomorrow. We got to be out of here tonight. She said, wait a minute, your name Ashford Sanders? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, you auditioned for season 2? I said, in season 3? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, come go with me. She sent me to the final round. I didn't even have to do the first 2. She sent me to the final round, and 3 weeks later, I was sitting in my apartment in the hood in a recliner watching Booty Call. I ain't lying. That's what I was watching. And she called me and said, you've been selected to go to this season of BET Sunday Best. And that was the way that story went.
God had a plan. You had a plan, but God had a better plan. God bless you, Evelyn Garrett Winfrey. I appreciate you watching. Listen, what was the song that you sang?
On which show? On Sunday Best?
Yes.
Oh, all of them are just, Millions.
Okay. That's
Millions, the biggest song that I sang.
That's what I want. Let's get that. I want to hear a little bit of that. And you recorded that. I want you to introduce that song.
Yes. So Millions was a song they gave me on the show. When they gave it to me, I did not like the song. I had never heard the song before. Nevertheless, I got in the rehearsal. I made some changes. I freestyled the night that we recorded it. And from there, that song changed my life. I went back and recorded the song. The origin of the song talks about when I die and go to heaven, I'll tell God, millions didn't make it, but I was one of the ones who did. So I wanted to keep that format in the beginning, but in the ending, I wanted to talk about now. I myself who dealt with dialysis and kidney failure, and I know people who've dealt with diabetes, cancer, that are still alive. They're still living. So the testimony is, I made it. I made it over. So here we go, y'all. Y'all check it out. This is Millions. It's available right now. Check it out. Millions. I hope you enjoy it.
I guess my engineer doesn't have. Oh, there we go.
Millions. Didn't make it, but I was.
If I can just make it up there, if I can walk through that city so bright and fair, there'll probably be 1,000 things I wanna tell the Lord. Oh, that day, millions didn't make it. I was one of the ones who did. Millions didn't make it. Oh, Jesus. I was one of the ones. Millions didn't make it, but I was.
Yes, sir, right.
But Saints, did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Now, we ain't gonna give the store away. We want you to go. How can we purchase your music?
Millions is available right now on all digital outlets, Apple Music, Spotify, everywhere you can think of. You can go get Millions right now. It is available, ready to play, ready to for real.
Did y'all hear how he set that thing up there? You know how the Saints do when we like something, we laugh in the spirit. It's just like, yes. You know when they got it and you know when they don't. You know what I mean? I enjoyed that. There's another one I want you to introduce. It's called I Want to Go to Heaven. Tell us a little bit about it and go ahead and introduce. We're going to play.
Okay. I Want to Go to Heaven is a song that I wrote back in 1998. And I was still in high school. I wrote a lot of songs. I got a lot of songs. And so I just one day I was like, you know what? I don't want to go to hell. And I started singing a song, Jesus Love is the most precious love. And so that's how I end up coming up with it. I want to go to heaven. I actually wrote a graduation song off the same, and then I changed it into the gospel song.
Wow.
I was 8th grade when I wrote this song.
Well, let's go introduce him. We're going to play a little of it.
All right, y'all. So here we go. Ashford Sanders, I Want to Go to Heaven. I hope you enjoy it.
Jesus' love is the most precious love that's ever happened to me. Oh yeah. Oh, how I love to be in God's presence. It means so much to me to know I have a Father who cares. And now I know I don't want to go to that place. I just can't go to hell where there's no way. I wanna go to heaven, where the streets are paved with gold. I wanna go to heaven.
How again can we purchase this song?
I Want to Go to Heaven is only available, I want to say, on Apple Music at the moment. Okay. But yeah, it is definitely out there. Man, that's one I hadn't heard in a minute, but that's a blessing.
It is, because that's my testimony.
Yes,
I want to go to heaven. I want to eat right so I can live right, and I want to go to heaven.
Yes.
Listen, I am so glad that you shared with us this evening, Ashford. I sincerely pray that the Lord continues to bless your music ministry. You've had a great testimony about your humble beginning, and you have a restaurant, you're an entrepreneur, and the Lord blessed you. You had a couple of roadblocks getting the Sunday best, but it was a reason that it went that way. Yeah. And millions didn't make it. A lot of people auditioned that didn't make it nearly as far as you did. And I trust and pray that your music continues to reach the masses, that you would touch people even far beyond the borders of the U.S. And will you come back again and share with us again?
Definitely. And keep in mind, y'all can go follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere at Ashford Sanders. And if you would like to bring me to your church, your venue, anywhere, please contact Apostle Vera Howard at 910-644-1824. I would love to come be a part of whatever you got going on, and we lift up God together.
Absolutely. And if you're ever in the Chicagoland area, please look me up. We got to connect. Thank you, and God bless you. I appreciate you sharing with us today.
Thank you so much.
Listen, you heard it right here with Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith, the Gospel Show, the Stellar Award-winning gospel show emanating live and direct from the studios of WVTC through StreamYard, where we are literally winning victory through Christ. Now I'm about to bring it on home. I understand Pastor Thurston is already in the backstage. He's waiting. We're going to bring him out. But before we get to him, there is a fireball woman of God in this city by the name of Pastor Phyllis Arnold, and I want her to come on in the room. Pastor Phyllis Arnold, God bless you. How are you doing?
Awesome. Doing great in every area of my life, and that's my final answer.
There you go. All in a nutshell. Wait a minute. Before we move on, do you all see this background? Do you all see that? That is just absolutely incredible. Just beauty all over the place. Come on. Can I go on and say Black beauty? I ain't ashamed of it. How you doing this evening?
Awesome. Doing really good. I'm so grateful to be on this show today. First interview.
Well, she said this is her first interview. God bless you. Bishop Anthony Arnold, thank you. I see you out there. Carolyn Holland, God bless you. Lisa Walker, all those fine people. Kishara Arnold. I see some Arnolds out there, so the army is in the building.
Yes, they are.
Leanne Shepherd, so many wonderful people. Thank you. I want you all to do something for me. I want you all to like and share. I want this on your front page because we want the glory of the Lord to be revealed. Pastor Arnold, tell us a little bit about your background and your where you're from and how you got involved in ministry and then music ministry. You got a little bit to unpack for us tonight.
I sure do. Of course, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I've been singing since I was 7 years old, and didn't really realize that that's what I was doing. I was at the front door. I've always loved ushers, and it looked like to me they were just something about them. I would put the gloves on as a little girl, and I would act like the people were in the audience, and I would ask for their gum. The ushers used to do back in the day.
Right,
you in the church, and they don't let you chew no gum in church. And so I would sit there, and then I was at the door one Sunday. We just got home from church, and my mom was in there cooking, and my sister was in there cooking. Now, I'm the youngest of my sister was 16 years older than me, and my brother was 18 years older than me. So I was like the only child. But I was standing there, and I didn't know that I was singing. But for some reason, my mom ran to the front, and she said, "Was that you?" And I said, "I guess so. I don't know." And she said, "Yeah, you can really sing." So they had me to just kind of stand there and sing with them for a minute. She tried to get me into different choirs and things, but I was only 7, so they didn't accept me. But we were a part of New Covenant Church. John Thurston was the pastor at that time. Isn't that something?
You know who's the guest right behind you, right? So
Yeah.
you can't go nowhere. Okay, keep going, please.
And so anyway, I ended up at Shiloh Baptist Church where C.J. Brooks was the pastor. At that time, I was 13, and I was able to be in the choir, and they gave me a lot of solos, and it just really kind of cultivated my voice. As I grew up, of course, I went to Evangelistic Crusaders and began to sing even the more with Pastor George Liggins, and the Lord blessed. And I met a man there, which was my husband, and he was already a preacher. So I'm sitting, trying to cultivate myself and make sure that I can be the best wife that I can be. And I'm watching TV, and I'm watching Taffy Dollar on TV, and the Lord takes me out for just a second. And he says to me, "I'm going to take you from where you are to where she is before great men." And it brings me right back. And I'm like, that was my first experience with God. Well, of course he did. He brought me to the Chicago White Sox, over 44,000 people. I'm singing the national anthem, especially the most horrendous time after the towers fell on 9/11. On 9/18 of the same year, the White Sox are playing against the Yankees, and I have to do God Bless America, and I have to do the national anthem. And my God, what a heart-rendering time. But I was out there by myself, no music. I got to make sure I start right on the right key, because if I don't, I'm in trouble. But that thing went all over the world. So he did what he said. He brought me way before this.
He brought me before great men and women and large audiences and platforms.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So when did you accept your call into ministry, and how did that happen? We'll talk about that too.
Way over 20 years ago. I knew that there was something within me that was more than just the singing, but I didn't know how to cultivate it. I didn't know how to bring it out. Again, I say I married a man. His name is Lanning Arnold. He's now a bishop and overseer of New Life Ministry. But he saw what I needed, and he began to push me into places I didn't want to go. But I went anyway. And there was a lot of turbulence during this time, because some people didn't want to accept who I was and where I was. And, raised up at that time, women in ministry wasn't the hit.
Right.
He was pushing us down instead of lifting us up. So there was a lot of turbulence going through this as far as getting into ministry, but the Lord blessed. And I was able to push through because of the anointing, and the call of God was on my life. This is one of the reasons why this song is so familiar with my spirit. Something I've been saying for a long time. They see the glory, they don't have it. I've had a story for over 20 years of going through and a lot of suffering, but the Lord brought me through, and the anointing has come because of the things that I had to go through in order to be able to, the anointing don't come in Honolulu. You ain't out there with a brass skirt on and drinking a non-alcoholic drink. You got to go through the fire. He said, "I chose you in the furnace of affliction." I ain't gonna start.
Go ahead with it.
But anyway, that's how I was chosen, and the anointing that God put on my life, the call that He had on my life, began to show up more and more and more. And my husband was one that really, really, really pushed to get me to where I am today, because he saw it, he knew it, and God used him as a vessel.
Well, we honor the man of God as well,
Amen.
Pastor
Amen.
Arnold. And listen, let me ask you this. How did that song come about? Who wrote it, and what was the catalyst to that song? Let's talk about that.
Well, I've been saying this for years, way before I met this young man. I've been saying that we had camp meeting in Arkansas, and I would say all the time, they see the glory, but they don't know the story. I have a story, and I was going to write a book about it. Things went haywire with everything that God had said. You know, one thing about it, when God gives you glory, if He tells you you're going to be this, you're going to do that, you're going to be great, one thing you got to know, that He does not give you the details.
Not all
There
the time.
is details to this glory. He doesn't show you. Mary wasn't given the details. Abraham wasn't given the details. Joseph was not given the details. They didn't know what they were going to have to go through to get to where He said they would be. And so I didn't know either, but I had given up. I just let things. I had been from one place to the next, one person to the next, discouraged, let go of the promise, didn't think about it no more. But there was a little man named Malcolm Simmons who God connected me with to come and play at our church. And he looked at me one day. We were getting ready for Facebook Live, and we're trying to get all of the chords together. He looked at me, he said, "Pastor, I'm gonna write you a song." I said, "Okay, baby, that's nice." I was doing. And he began to sing it. And Lord have mercy, the first words he said was, "They see the glory." I said, "Oh God, but I have a story." That was it. I was out. Count me out. So this is how this song came about. It is my story, but it's not just my story. It's the story of every believer that has been born again and being used by God. This is your story. Okay, there's glory, but there's a story. I'm sorry.
Right before we play it, I want everybody right now to make sure you have shared this live on your front page. Everybody that's in this room right now. I see many of you on different platforms and different pages or what have you. I want you to make sure you put this on your front page. And Pastor Arnold, I want you to give us the song title and who's singing it, and we're going to play the glory. Go ahead and do
it. Today, I'm introducing to this platform for the first time, The Glory. It's a song that was written for all of us, that we find ourselves in this place, that we know that God brings us through. And He is a man of His word. Whatever He said, I don't care when He said it. It doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get there. You will get to the glory in the midst of the story. So I introduce to you today Phyllis Arnold singing The Glory.
I guess we have a little. There we go. There we go.
They see the glory, but I have a story of how He's brought me from a mighty long way. Let me tell you about a man that changed my life, y'all, and gave me His plans. He's my Savior, strong tower. He's the strength that I need in this very hour. I know the man that has a master plan. I don't know where I'd be without Your glory.
What's up, everybody? I'm so excited. Same magazine, but we have renamed it and is rebranded. It's entitled The Gospel Music Gazette. It's a journey and a journal of a lifetime. Gospel music history at its best. Get your copy of our first edition. Enjoy.
Listen, soon as I hit play on that and I heard your voice, I was like, she got it. And I've heard you sing before, but that song is so appropriate for this time. While we're focused on monkeypox and everything else, beloved, if we can focus on the glory of God, you'll be covered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that song was so timely, and you executed so well. I love the musical arrangement. I know the background is just absolutely awesome. It's a good flow, and I'm looking forward to hearing you sing that in person and live. And I know that the glory of God is going to just fill the building as soon as you open up your mouth, because first of all, you're anointed. That's to begin with. So let's start right
Thank
there.
the Lord.
We can start right there. Can you tell us how we can secure that song?
Sure can. But before I do that, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to encourage people out there today. You look at me, and this was 23 when I was told that I was going to be taken before great men. I am 62 years old today. Not today, but I'm 62 years old now. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. Hold on to what he said. For I am a witness. I'm a poster child. I'm an advocate for his faithfulness. Glory be to God. Now let me tell you how y'all get a hold of me. All right, so you go
the
through
preacher
social
showed
media.
up.
You go through social media at PMA. That's Phyllis Michelle Arnold Ministries. That's how you get me. Of course, the song is on all digital outlets, so you're able to get it from anywhere that you have it. Whatever platform you can find that you have. Some of you already own it, on iTunes or Apple or whatever, and you're just able to stream it or download it. But this is where I'm on all digital outlets. You can always book me. My booking information is pmaministries@gmail.com, or you can call 708-581-8122 to book me, to be able to come. I would love to be a part of whatever God is doing in the midst of you all's ministry.
Someone that is part of your camp, I want them to put that in the comments. I want you to give that web address again, that email address, whatever. I want that to be put in the comments so someone can get it. Say it again, please.
It's PMA, Phyllis Michelle Arnold Ministries @gmail.com. The phone number is 708-581-8122.
Wow.
That's how you get me.
Well, Pastor Arnold, I'm excited about your future, and I'm thanking God
Thank you so much
for the glory right now. Will you come
Me
back
too.
to visit us again, please?
Anytime. I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much. Listen, wherever I go, no matter where I go, know that you were the first one that gave me that chance.
I'm honored.
As an interview, I'm appreciative.
Did it feel okay? Did it feel like a conversation?
Yeah, I'm good. I was a little, but but I'm thankful to God for helping me out and being a blessing. I know God's getting ready to do something great. It's already done. I'm just looking for the manifestation. But just know you were the first one. Just like the producer and the writer of the song. He's going to be greatly blessed because of the seeds that were sown into my life. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you.
And you will come back, right?
I sure will.
All right. You'll be here for me. Thank you. And God bless you. Please let's support our artists. This is Chicago right here. This is us. Let's support Ashford Sanders. I'm really looking forward to seeing what God has for these great men and women of God. Ashford Sanders from Canton, now living in Georgia, and Pastor Arnold right here in Chicago. You all have seen her. She's wrecked the many churches preaching and evangelizing, and now the Lord has launched her singing ministry, and we're so grateful. Listen, right now I'm getting ready to bring, I don't know if I'm going to call him my little brother, my big brother, but he is a giant in the kingdom. Pastor Stephen Thurston Jr. I believe he's back there. I want to bring him on up to the forefront. This is my first time having him here, and I'm ready. I got my dukes up. My God, Pastor Thurston, thank you for coming. Say hello to everybody.
What's good, man? Hello to your audience, to your platform. Thank you for gracing me with the opportunity to share here. Super kind of you. People don't have to be nice, and you being nice to me in this way means a whole lot to me. So thank you for inviting me on, man.
You know who you sound like?
Who?
You sound just like this pastor. He has this big church right off like 77th and Cottage Grove. You sound just like him. And you kind of favor him. My God, what a coincidence.
I tried to train him up in the way that he should go, man.
Man, listen, everybody, I want you all to like and share. I got Pastor Stephen Thurston Jr. in here, and he is somebody. And what I like about him, he says what he's gonna say. I've learned some spiritual nuggets from you just by following you on Facebook.
Thank you, man.
And honestly, Pastor, while I may not agree with everything, I can respect that you stand on it. And I research, and a lot of times I'm like, well, I guess maybe he is right about it. You just come on with it. Tell us a little bit about your background. I mean, you're educated. You come from a lineage of ministry.
Yeah.
Just give us a little bit about it. Just tell us. I'm just honored.
Sure thing, man. So born and raised here in Chicago, fourth generation preacher and pastor. Pastor Arnold mentioned my grandfather, but my great grandfather started the church, 44th Street Baptist Church here in Chicago. Grandfather followed him, shifted the name to New Covenant. My dad followed him, and then I followed my dad, and we pastored together for 9 years. I retired at the end of 2011, moved back to Georgia, did some work there with one of my mentors at the time, and then came back to Chicago. And for the past 5 years, I've been serving at the Salem Baptist Church of Chicago with Pastor James Meeks. And on Father's Day, he announced his retirement in January. The following Sunday, I announced my retirement. And so Pastor Meeks and I will be walking out together January 15th. So family, New Covenant has been in existence, I think, 87 years this year. You don't find too many churches who've been pastored by the same family, members of the same family for that period of time, for 4 generations. So proud of the lineage and the legacy, all the sacrifice and labor my dad, grandfather, and great grandfather did that paved the way for me to be who I am today. So I thank them.
Absolutely. And where did you get your formal education?
So Morehouse College was undergrad, Mercer University grad school, and then I did post-grad work at Northwestern and Oxford, got my PMP, that's Professional Project Management Certification in 2015, and just kind of been building on from there.
Okay, and what did you major in?
So I started out dual degree, engineering and math. I did not want to preach. I wanted to be a car designer. And so started preaching maybe sophomore, junior year at Morehouse. Senior year, changed my major, finished that sociology degree in 1 year. Don't ask me how I did it, but I did it. And then got the Master of Divinity, negotiation and mediation, project management, and then some post-grad work in the theology space.
Pastor Marcus Treadwell said, "You're a true scholar of the word."
Hey, man, I try to bring it because so much of our scholarship in the church has been influenced and framed by white people, white evangelical people, to be specific, and a black lens and a black voice needs to be added from a scholastic perspective. So we're not just talking in tongues, but we're talking from an intellectual place and blending mind and spirit together as we engage and encourage people in the text.
So let's just get to it. I gotta just go and get to it. Listen, so I follow you, and I follow some of the subjects that I see their passion for you. What is your take with the criminal justice system as it relates to African American people? I see your post about this, and my heart is right there. Yeah. We're right here, and you bring some hard facts and knowledge about how Black and brown people are treated as it relates to law enforcement in Chicago and abroad. Can you share with us about that?
Yeah, man. So a lot of that study and research comes from my background as a sociologist. We study human behavior, group behavior, the root cause analysis of why people and groups of people do what they do. And I was called and invited into a commission that works on police and reforming the police and the justice system. And so that's what spurs a lot of my conversation and communication on the social media platforms about that. These systems and structures are put in place and have been in place historically to hold back, to hinder, to minimize and marginalize Black and brown people. They do not work in our favor. The system is set in place to harm us, and for people that don't look like us to make money off of us, to attain free labor from us once we're locked behind those bars. And so I take issue with police and how they treat us, the misuse and the abuse of power, the funds that are placed in the budget. If you've never looked at a city budget and looked at how much money goes into policing, you'd be amazed. If you juxtapose the amount of money spent on policing in America to military budgets for other governments, we would be the third largest. Our policing in America would be the third largest budget as it relates to military spending for other countries. And so we've got to recognize that Black people are 13% of the population in the United States. I want you to go do the research. As you mentioned, Ramon, I don't give all the details. I make people do research and work. We 13% of the population. I want you to see what percentage we are of the prison population and who benefits from that. When many of our prisons and our jails are in small towns, small communities, and that is the main source of income and revenue and employment in a lot of these small towns. And guess who lives in these small towns? People that don't look like us. So they benefit from us being in prison. And we have to raise the voice as a prophetic preacher. I've got to speak truth to power and call people out. And even police that look like us, that have our same skin tone. When you look at it from a sociological lens, when people are in groups and become part of a system, they begin to think like the system. And so I will often say that too many of our African-American officers are more blue than they are Black, because they don't stand up, they don't push back, they don't address the system, they don't crash the system to make changes in the system. There's an organization called Noble that many people are not familiar with. Do your research on Noble, and I want you to find how often Noble, these are Black officers, have spoken out about the injustices that are imposed on our people by white and Black officers. They're silent. Yet we pay the salaries of these individuals. We provide these bloated budgets to police communities. And then when something happens, these individuals keep their jobs. They switch to different departments. They continue to get paid. They continue to keep their pensions. And then civil lawsuits are filed. And we, the people, pay the price for the crimes that they commit against us. Something ain't right with that system. And it takes more of us who have platforms and voices to speak up and speak truth to power and to shine the light on the system that really needs to be dismantled and put back together again in a way that's equitable and fair across the board.
I was just speaking with a friend of mine earlier today about the fact of how the police even got started in this country to begin with. And if we go back and do research on that, therein lies a big key to what we're dealing with now.
Yes, sir. Slave catchers. And they still trying to catch slaves.
And you mentioned systems, and you just mentioned one. Can you just speak to some of the other systems that are in place that are predispositioned to put brown and Black people in prison and to put us at a disadvantage?
Yeah, man, something awesome that we did at Salem about, I think it was the year before COVID, for Mother's Day. We had worship experience in the women's prison here in Chicago. And the ladies, we brought gifts and did things to celebrate the women that were in prison. And what we did was we surprised about 5 women with releasing them from prison that day. There were women that had been incarcerated, sitting in jail for years because they did not have bail money. You will find people in our community that will sit waiting on trial, haven't even gone to trial, sitting there for years because they don't have the $300 or $400 to get out. That impacts their credit, that impacts their job security, that impacts their children, men and women. And so even little things like that bail bond system that's set up to hold us back and to hinder us and to hurt us, because people will literally sit in jail because nobody can come up with $100 to get them out.
So now I'm going to be the other person. I'm not going to be the devil's advocate, but I'm going to be that person. And I know you have an answer because you are quick, and I just watch you and I'm like, whoa, I better be ready. Okay, why am I afraid in my own community to go to an ATM at night? Why am I afraid at stoplights in the daytime?
Sure.
And I'm not afraid of the Klan. I wrote down Noble because I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
And it's not the Klan. It's not the Aryan Nation. It's not the Republicans. It's not the evangelicals. It's people that look like me.
Yes, sir.
Why am I experiencing a exponential amount of urban terrorists, if I can call them?
Yes.
That look like me.
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Very fair question that has a couple of components, nuanced answers to it. Number one, we've been socialized to view Black as criminal, as enemy, as dangerous. That goes back through history, and we've picked up on that socialization regarding that. Number two, the best way to eliminate crime from a community is to provide resources for the community. When you strip a community of resources and strip the people of resources and equal access to things, it perpetuates crime. People are in a survival of the fittest mode, and they do what's needful and necessary, many times pushing people over the edge of morality and legality to get what needs to be gotten and do what needs to be done. You have a people that are in space where they don't have hope, where they see no future, where they see this as the only way to get ahead or to gain access to things, and you find criminal activity. You put resources in a community. This is proven by fact. Sociologists and researchers have proven this. You flood a community with resources, crime is eliminated. And so I'll add to this, because in these types of questions that you raise, and thank you for raising it, you'll hear the term Black on Black crime. That's an ignorant statement that I want Black people to stop talking about.
I was careful not to say that. I was because I knew that you would get me for that. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, so everybody's hiring. Yeah. There are not enough workers in my own community, and we still got problems.
Yeah,
help me.
Yeah,
I'm not getting it.
Sure. Well, let's be honest and be clear. We will always have a demographic of people in our community who ain't gonna be nothing. And that's not just our community, that's all communities. There's a demographic of people who ain't gonna be nothing, who will not rise to the occasion, who will not take advantage of opportunities that are presented to them. There's apathy, there's laziness, whatever you want to call it. But I don't believe that that is the brush that we need to paint over everybody of color, be them Black or brown. So many people have been pressed down and traumatized for so long, they literally cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. They see nothing else. They see no other way. And so it requires each and every one of us to be a bright light in a dark and a dismal world, to reach out to our brothers and our sisters, to spend time to build rapport and relationship with them, to coach them and to walk alongside them, to encourage them, push them, and sometimes drag them into their purpose and into their potential, because we all we got. Ain't nobody gonna do for us what we can do for ourselves. And it's my responsibility when I see one of our brothers and our sisters in the hood that ain't got hope, that doesn't have a future, that I spend time and come out for my privilege, lift my voice, utilize my resources, and help my brother and my sister to get what I know God has created them to be.
I am pressing, and I'm pressing toward the mark, but it's another mark. I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
Why do I feel more comfortable on the north side of Chicago, where it's far more diverse, where when I'm on my side of town and people that look like me, I try to help, and then they're the ones that try to grab my cell phone. They're the ones that pull the gun out on me when I'm trying to go to work in the morning, and I pull off from my car, and then they pull up and block me. Why do I feel more comfortable on the other side of town where it's diverse? And I want to help these people. I want to help these people that look like me, my brothers and sisters. But while I'm trying to help them, they're trying to rob me. I'm pressing.
Because on the north side of town, they've got different types of resources. They have different types of opportunities that are provided to them. The culture, the environment is different. They're not policed as heavily as we are. That changes the psychology of people when they're made to feel like they're criminals, when they're forced into environments where they've got to fight. Anything that's backed into a corner is going to fight. And many people in our communities feel that way. They feel the pressure from every angle there is possible. And so they resort to what they know. They have not been exposed to so many other opportunities and found exit paths out of the life and the lifestyle that they've been accustomed to for so long. Some of this is epigenetic transmission of trauma and pain that's been passed down through DNA. And so again, it takes work, hard work, to change the mind, the mindset, the ethos, and the environment of our communities, to bring them to places where they look like the North Side. It's not a silver bullet. It's a whole group of elements that have to come together to change our communities and to give our people hope and options and walk them along the path. I'll give you a quick example. I was working with some drug dealers some time ago, helping them to change their lives around, moving from bricks to bricks, from bricks of cocaine to bricks concerning real estate, and helped one of the guys to get a car, connected him with a young lady at an insurance agency to get insurance for the vehicle. Laid everything out. He had the cash to handle everything. I found out later, she calls me and says, Stephen, I'm in trouble with my boss because he sent over fake documentation and paperwork. He was so accustomed to doing stuff the wrong way that even when he had the resources to do it the right way and get insurance and pay for it, it was just beyond the scope of his mind to do it the right way. And so that took me going back to him and working with him, getting to the root cause and helping him understand you don't have to do what you used to do. Your life has changed. So everything about your life now ought to be on straight street. And so it's a reprogramming of our minds for many people in our community to shift them from that place of struggle and poverty and just scrapping and doing what they got to do, even illegally and immorally, to the right place, right mindset that will move them forward and our communities forward.
Okay, now I'm getting ready to push you even further, and I'm getting ready to get in the hot seat.
Yeah.
The Lord has blessed me with a platform.
Yeah.
What can I do? Because it just don't feel good when I see this cycle.
Yeah.
Onward of people that look like me.
Yes.
They're still dealing with these systems.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they're playing right into the hands. I mean, I'm just like, you got the gun and you can't even shoot the right person. You don't care that it's a 4-year-old.
Right, man.
Exactly. You don't even care.
Exactly.
You got the, however you got it, you don't even care that there are women and elderly people. You just shooting.
Yep.
What can I do? Because the Lord has gifted, the Lord has blessed me.
Yep.
With this vehicle, this platform, and my connection with the community of faith to do something about this, because this is epidemic.
Yes, sir. Totally agree. One, I think you stated it. You have a passion for the people. That has to be there. There has to be this organic and natural passion for the people. And two, we then have to move beyond our platforms. Our platforms are great. My pulpit is great. Your Facebook page, my Facebook page, that's great. But relationship has to come first. Relationship supersedes discipleship. For the guys that I was working with that were moving major heroin and coke in the city, what I did was I would not go to my office every day. I would go to the block and hang out with them on the block. I would spend time with them. I never criticized them. I never browbeat them. I never brought out my Bible. I spent time. And after a while, they're like, Pastor, you out here kicking it with us, hanging with us? Police roll up. No, these my members. I got it. It's all good. Push off. We would go to dinner. I would be at dinner with my guys. The police would come in the restaurants and try to shake us down, literally. I continued to spend time. I got in the trenches with them. And in doing so, I won their hearts. They saw I wanted nothing from them. I only wanted the best for them. And again, I never Bibled them. I never theologized them. None of that. I just spent time building rapport and relationship. And at a certain point in the relationship, it switched and it turned. And they started coming to me, hey, man, I want to clean my life up. I want to get things together with my baby mama. I want to get out of this game. Can you introduce me to some people that can help me clean my money up? And lives started changing, all because I built rapport and relationship with them. It cost me something. It cost me great. I mean, even as of recently, I was on the flagged list. And some of my street people that may be tuned in, they know what this is. I've had my stores, my businesses bugged. I've had police sitting outside my homes. They've built files on me, like trying to build like a RICO case, like I'm the Frank Lucas, because I was running with the major guys and I was doing ministry, but they saw it as something different. And so, every time I got on the plane, I'm flagged because they trying to watch me to see if I'm moving weight. All kind of crazy stuff. We'd have to do a whole nother show on that. So it's going to cost you something. But if your heart is pure and you're really about making the people's lives better, I believe that God will block you and protect you and take care of you in your efforts.
I'm gonna step out because I feel it's wrong to complain about it if you're not gonna try to be part of the solution. And those are my personal friends that's listening. No, I go in, I'm just like, this something is not right.
Yes,
what
sir.
can be done to turn this around? Now I'm getting ready to jump in the other frying pan because we're coming on back to the community of faith, which you do not mind hammering down. What is the issue with the Black church? Why are you say it, but for those that don't know, our churches are suffering.
Yes.
Because they're not reaching this next move of God with technology.
Yeah.
They're not open to change.
Yes, sir.
And they want to stay behind the four walls and they don't want to evolve. And you don't mind talking about it in the most common language. I think it's so eloquent. I love that part about you. I just do. I ain't gonna lie. But I want you to speak to that. Those that have pastors, those of you all that know that you see churches as struggling, y'all make sure you share it on the page. Even just put the link in the instant message so you don't put these pastors on blast, because Reverend Thurston has something to say. What is going on and what needs to change, because there's too much happening with the demise of the Black church.
Yeah, every church, every organization has a life cycle. And many of our churches are at the life cycle between decline and death. And if you don't hit the reset button in between decline and death and a very fast death is going to happen, especially in our current cultural context where change is happening faster than literally it's ever happened before. And so many of our pastors, many of our leaders, they've tried to do well. We celebrate their efforts, but they were trained to do ministry in the 20th century, not trained to do ministry for the 21st century, which brings a whole nother level of dynamic. And so it's been said by a futurist, I can't recall his name at the moment, but he said that the most illiterate people are not people who cannot read or write, but rather people who cannot learn, unlearn, and then relearn. And as the faith community, as pastors, as leaders, we have to learn, unlearn, and then relearn for us to stay relevant, for us to have meaningful impact that goes beyond the four walls of our buildings. That day is over. Church is going smaller and it's going digital, and we have to position ourselves to meet people where they are instead of waiting for people to come to us. We have to do ministry that's meaningful, that literally meets the needs of the people. That's not just so vertical that it's heavenly good, but it's no earthly good. But we've got to go vertical and meet people where they are. And church is not going to look like it's looked for the past 50, 60, 70 years. It has a whole different flavor, a whole different vibe. There's a whole different culture that's listening differently. So we have to even preach differently to a group of people that are listening differently. People who don't know the history of the church. They don't know the hymns. They don't know all of that stuff, because in the Black community, many families are 3 to 4 generations removed from church. I'm going back to my sociology roots. When you look at the crack cocaine pandemic and epidemic in our communities, that was not looked at from the religious and from the faith-based perspective. It wiped out generations, because you had the crack baby who was born to the crack mama, who's now raised by grandmama. Grandmama takes crack baby as crack baby is growing up to church. It's old church, it's traditional church. And when crack baby gets old enough that says, I don't have to go to church because grandmama too old to make me, I ain't going to church. Crack baby is now like in their 40s or 50s. Their grandparents, some of them are great grandparents, and they never reconnected to church. So their kids, their grandkids, and their great grandkids ain't connected to church. You follow me? So in some families, you got 2, 3, 4 generations that are totally removed from church. And so we try to present a gospel in a way that reach old folk that in no way, shape, form, or fashion will connect with younger demographics. And so we've got to be open to exploring, open to development, open to changing some of what we do and how we do it to reach a group of people that don't know nothing about what you grew up on. Give me that old time religion. It was good enough for you, but it ain't going to do a damn thing for them.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Pastor Stephen Thurston. So I press. The Bible doesn't change. Jesus remains the same. Why do I have to change what we all grew up on? We grew up on the hymns of the church, and it brought me all the way. Now, why all of a sudden you come along and everything got to change? Jesus the same yesterday and the same forevermore.
Yes, sir. That is such a limited view. And I wish that people that said that, and I know you're not saying that personally, you're just speaking in general, because I know you're better than that. But people who say that often have never taken a church history class. Because if you look back at Christianity from its origin to where it is now, it has continued to change and develop and evolve over time. And so it's not going to stop changing. It's an ever evolving piece. If Jesus were to step on planet Earth right now in the flesh, he'd probably be like, what the hell is this? What are y'all doing? It looks nothing like what we used to do in the first and the second century. So stop being afraid of change and transformation. Everything around us changes. And so why do we think that the church is going to maintain its power by staying stuck and stagnant? It won't. And the reason why many of us don't want the church to change is because for the African American, the church has been the only place historically where we've had power and control. White man didn't control our church. We had something to say. We had voice. We had power. And so we get stuck in that modality where we don't want to shift anything, because what we're not afraid of is change. What we're afraid of is losing power or perceived power. That's the driving force why we don't want things to shift. And for many of us, we'd rather kill the church than hit the reset button for the church to live on. I mean, think about it even from a business perspective. How many African-American businesses do you see even in Chicago that are generationally owned? It stops at a certain point because the old head wants to keep doing it the same way that they did it from the time that they built it and never wants to transition. And so it dies because the kid says, I don't want nothing that I got to resurrect. I'll go build my own thing in a different type of space. Same thing is happening with the church.
Well, the music is different. I don't feel comfortable with what I'm hearing in church. They don't sing hymns anymore. Everything sounds like it's from the world. And I don't understand this transition, this change. You know what I'm doing, right?
I know what you're doing.
You know what I'm doing.
I love it too.
I don't understand it. We didn't sing that. Y'all sound like the world, and y'all look like the world.
Yes. It's interesting how we define the world. And it's interesting that most Black people don't know the history of gospel music and where it came from, because those same chord structures that you love so much that got you over were literally the same chord structures that were played in blues and jazz and in the club on Saturday night. They just changed the words. Do your history on gospel music and the father of gospel music and look at his origin. He's from Chicago, right? Yeah. Thomas Dorsey, that's his name, right? Yeah. Jazz playing, blues playing, Thomas Dorsey. Yeah, we say all this stupid stuff to make us feel good, but we lack information. And so we use our imagination about what is and what isn't. Listen, music continues to shift and to change to meet the market. And we've got to be willing to be adaptable and recognize that, hey, it ain't working to reach them. So why not change it if we say we really want to reach them? Give them something that's palatable for them. I don't know what it is to come up on the rough side of the mountain. I'm the child of a baby boomer. Baby boomers for Black people were the largest demographic to do well. And so they spoiled us, Generation X and younger. We don't know what it means to come up on the rough side of the mountain and I'm struggling. That's not our story for the most part in the grand scheme of things. And so we listen differently, we read the Bible differently, we hear differently. And so that which ministers to us has to come in a different form than that which ministered to a different demographic from a different era.
I'm going to say this, and this is Ramon. I certainly believe in balance. I'm a child of the 60s. I just turned 58 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I'm on both sides.
Yeah.
What do you, I am. Yeah, I'm on both sides.
Yeah.
But I do cut down the middle at a place. Honestly, I do. And it's probably because of my age and where I come from.
Sure.
But what do you say to, no, I'm just going to say it this way. You get all these young people in church, the bills aren't going to get paid. And you don't treat the old people right. You know, just push those over in the corner and we can't relate. I'm just going to close my pocketbook up and I'm not coming back to church because the young people done took over and everything is different and changed. Nat Schaefer told me, Pastor Eric Thomas, and Elder DeAndre Patterson, he said, in 20 years or less, you won't even recognize church as you know it today. And you will feel very disoriented when you're going to church. What us gonna do?
What us gonna do is die. That's what us gonna do. Because and I do a lot of consulting with pastors and churches, and I hear that a lot. I got to keep catering to my old people. No, you have to mature your older seasoned saints to recognize that each season brings about a different position for them. Look at a basketball player. Look at Shaq. When he first came into the league at 19, scoring 40, 50 points, breaking backboards, as he transferred through different teams and progressed in his career, his time on the court minimized, his points minimized, and he ended his career almost as a coach on the field. He shifted in his season, and saints got to do the same thing. We got to shift as our seasons shift and move people into position that can carry this thing forward if we really wanted to move forward. When we look at the life and the ministry of Jesus, Jesus was all about change and transformation. And so anybody in the church that pushes back and puts a hard no against change and transformation and progression, they're really anti-Christ. And when you place that on people, it causes them to think about some things. Stop being selfish. The gospel has to reach different demographics, a younger demographics, for the church to have posterity. And here's the reality, Mother Jones. You probably getting one check a month. As a younger person, I've got more growth potential in my income than you do. So it's really me that can keep the church going because I make $200,000-300,000 a year and I've got the disposable income to give to the church to keep it going. But the church has to give me something to give to.
But I gave Reverend my insurance policy. I helped put the dough up.
Yep. Thank you. It's time for me to help keep the door going and to put a new door in so we can bring some new people in. Because the reality is Mother Jones don't leave the money in no church when she died. Ladies, we got to fry fish to pay for the funeral because they didn't get no policies. If we stick with what we had, the church will die. And if you say you love God, if you say you love the church, then you ought to be doing everything to ensure that the church has a posterity. And you ought to be pushing and promoting and cheering for young people to come on in. I may not understand it. It may be different, but that doesn't mean it's deficient. Different doesn't mean deficient. And because I want the church to move forward, I'm going to yield to my will and let the will of God come into this place and shift some stuff that's going to minister to somebody else so that they can carry this thing forward.
And the pastor used a bad word. I ain't used to that. Where'd that come from?
Well, help me. Help me to see in Greek, Hebrew, or Aramaic where any of these words that we deem profane come from. I challenge people because I speak all of those languages. And I have people who take the biblical text out of context where it talks about profane language. That's not what it's talking about. Those four-letter words that we use, they are not a part of those languages. Profanity, as we know it, didn't come around until the 1800s. And so from the first century to the 1800s, that's a long time span. So I challenge people to do their work and their research. It's a cultural mores that causes you to say that that's profane, that you don't like it. Don't spiritualize it because the Bible speaks nothing about shit, damn, hell, whatever other words. I won't go to the F one. It don't say nothing about that. It's not a part of the language. So please miss me with misinterpreting the text and bastardizing the Bible to make it say what you want it to say rather than what it actually says and speaks to.
Pastor Thurston, did you know I was going to come with you like that tonight?
I love it, man. I had a feeling.
But see, I knew you was ready. I follow you. I watch you. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't believe. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Hey man, my page is for people to learn or laugh. I want you to do one of the two or
I
both.
do both. I
Yes.
literally do both.
Yeah.
Last one. Did you get a chance to check that out? What we talked about?
I did.
Okay, so now I'm going to go back and ask you, what is your take on Beyonce's Church Girls, the sample that she did of the Clark sisters, Center of Thy Will?
Yeah, man.
Because that didn't sound like the church. They done desecrated the song. The devil is a lie.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you, because I hadn't listened to the song. So thank you for my introduction to that particular piece. My interpretation of what Beyonce did with that piece of art is this. She was showing a juxtaposition and to the facade that we're forced to put up, that many church girls put up, juxtaposing that to the reality of what lies dormant on the inside. And so she's showing, hey, this is what y'all tell me to be as a church girl, but this is really who church girls are. They're human beings who have the same ideas and desires and hopes and dreams and itchings to do things. And if you suppress that stuff too hard and too long, it's going to come out at some point. What's in you will come out of you. And so we gotta, we need to have boundaries on our life. Yes, we need to have morals and standards, but there's some stuff in us that needs to be explored so that we know how to handle it in a healthy way. Continuing to put our head in the sand about an issue doesn't make the issue go away. It actually makes it worse. And many church cultures are holding people down, forcing them down. And then when they pop out, it's to hell because they haven't had the room to breathe and explore and have healthy dialogue and conversation about what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they're desiring. So we got to create a more balanced space and place.
Jason Davis said, what's in you will come out. But do you think that that is representative in any way of even some of the church girls? Because many have taken offense and some listen to it and like the song. And I'm just wondering, what is your take here?
No, that's real, man. That's real. Especially when you look at girls in the Pentecostal and holiness side. Them some of the biggest hoes. Everybody know that in the church space because they're so repressed and suppressed. And when they get away from that environment, they shoot off. They go there. They turn up.
The views and opinions of Reverend Pastor Dr. Stephen Thurston are not that of Ramon Perry, and according to your faith, WVTC Chicago, Detroit, or any of its affiliates.
Y'all email me, don't email him.
Good Jesus, have mercy. Pastor Thurston, listen, I'm just honored to have you, and I certainly appreciate you taking up time. And I want to connect with you because I want to be a man of my word. I want to be an agent of change. I don't like what I see in my community. Yeah. I want to know what I can do outside of this platform and four walls in some way to help be an agent of change so I can be a part of helping the solution to the problem and the systems that our people face. Will you come back again and visit me again?
Man, I'll be honored to. Thank you again. And yes, we're going to connect. I've got some opportunities to plug you into so that your voice and your presence can be felt and heard in the community to make change in at least one life. If we change one man, we've done some major work.
What is your next?
So that's the question that's been coming up. I'm going to chill after January 15th. That's our last Sunday at Salem. I'm a chill. I've been spending a lot of time in Morocco. I'm trying to make that my other home, working on getting dual citizenship. So I'll probably spend some time there. I've got some other consulting opportunities that I will pursue. Of course, the main question people want to know, are you going to take another church? Are you going to start a church? That's not my desire at this point in place in life. Of course, God could change that. But for me right now, that's not it. I just want to relax, have some fun, chill out. I've been in this thing my whole life, been pastoring for 22 years and been in this thing at a very high level my whole life. So I'm going to take some time away and help some other people, help some other churches, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Morocco, what's the first language there? Is it Portuguese?
No, so Arabic.
Arabic
and French.
Which one do you speak?
Neither.
Really?
No, I speak Greek, Hebrew, a little bit of Aramaic, tiny bit of Spanish. But Arabic is hard, very hard language. So I'm gonna try to pick up French, but they speak a lot of English and they speak American Express. So I'm real good when I'm there.
American Express. I took 12 years of French, by the way.
Well, cool. You help me with that. I'll help you with the hood.
I know more Spanish than I know French because I got Spanish friends. Pastor Thurston, I'm honored and privileged. Thank you again for sharing with us today on WTC with More Prayer According to Your Faith. And before you leave, I know you said you'll be back and forth, but I'm going to catch you some kind of way, and we'll get you back here because you had so much to share, and I believe it's going to be a blessing to the body of Christ. Listen, everybody, please do this for me before you go. I want you to like and share this. Put this on your front page. He shared some spiritual nuggets that will possibly help some pastors that are struggling in their ministries right now, pushing back on what is coming. It is coming. It's like justice. It's going to bend and it's going to come, and there's not a lot you can do about it. And some of these things may be a help to you in your ministry to keep it thriving so it does not die. Amen. Amen. Thank you again, Pastor Thurston. Listen, I'm about to check out. The clock on the wall says time for me to go. I want y'all to come back with me next Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Ramon Perry, and According to Your Faith, stellar award-winning According to Your Faith, right here at WVTC. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you, and God bless you. God bless you, Jason. God bless you, everybody. I love you.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC.